I mean, I find it weird that Keir Starmer can't find any money at all for kind of things like, cutting the 2-child benefit cap, more money for the NHS, just generally looking at the cost of living crisis. He won't commit. There's no magic money tree, according to him.
No.
But yet, suddenly he can make a commitment to defence spending to 2.5%, and he can make that now.
Why do you think he did it? Why do you think he did it?
He just wants to park his tanks on the Conservative lawn, doesn't he? I mean, he's so desperate. He's so desperate to get Tory voters that he's prepared to sacrifice his base. I mean, lifelong Labour voters like myself we're just disenchanted.
Would you accept our guest from CND arguing that being poor on defence, being perceived as being weak on defence, has been a traditional stick which the Tory party has used to beat Labour for most of my conscious life? I don't doubt that as being true. I've got question marks in my mind as to whether Keir Starmer has responded in the right way. Would you accept, though, being weak on defence is a Tory attack line on Labour?
Indeed, and Labour always kind of had to play kind of defence on that to kind of prove to the electorate that they're tough, and almost has to overcompensate to do so. But I'm talking about the base. I'm talking about traditional Labour Party members, Labour Party supporters who look at the policies that Keir Starmer's coming up with, and as we probably know, there isn't that much difference at all between Labour and the Tories now.
On defence, there's none. I can see, Khalid. I mean, it's exactly the same.
So where does that leave a great swathe of the electorate who actually want to make a positive voice in the next election? Where do we go to?
You said traditional Labour voters, and then I'm immediately transported back to 2019 when traditional Labour voters in the north abandoned Labour and they didn't even go full Tory. They wanted more right wing. So Brexit Party now become Reform. So the traditional Labour base is changing, and so what I think we agree on is there is a section of the Labour base that will think this is another bad move by Labour. It's Labour moving to placate the Tories rather than Labour coming out with its own vision, its own political vision. But across the party base as a whole, with such significant numbers leaving in the last election, I wonder, Khalid, I wonder. Thank you for the call. Good morning to you, Roy. Hope you're having a nice Saturday.
Morning. Now, for something as serious as nuclear weapons, it's absolutely right and proper that we listen to and consider proposals from every party.
Well said.
But the mistake we make is thinking that having sort of had that process and come to a conclusion, that we're then going to cast our vote accordingly. We're long past that stage now. And providing that Keir Starmer doesn't do anything sort of ridiculous like saying, we're going to nuke Iran on Monday. Unless it was absolutely extreme, we're parking what we decide about any policy. All we want at the moment is to get the current government out.
Well, if I may, Roy, I would like to see public services work. I want to see my tax pounds transform into effective public services. And what I'm concerned about is Keir Starmer at the moment, on defence, there is nothing between him and Rishi Sunak. It's the same. And I'm also told, we're also told by Labour that there's no money to fix public services, that there's not enough money to fix public services. Well, I'm sorry, Roy. It's like me taking all the money I have in the world, taking out and loans to buy a Ferrari because I want a Ferrari, but then I complain that I can't feed my family or pay my bills. It's choosing. I can understand why Starmer is doing it, but it's in order to fund a nuclear programme and maintain a nuclear programme, it will involve no more money for public services. And I would rather, I had a choice at election time to vote for more public services, better public services. That's what I would like.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But we know that once this present awful administration has gone and the Labour in, the same problems will exist as exist now, but we simply do not trust the current administration to deal with them ethically or properly or even with any degree of competence. We just want to start again and then address those issues, not now.
Morning to you, Cliff.
Hi there. Hi.
Hi. Morning.
Yeah, I just want to say I think it's a fallacy to think that scrapping Trident is going to provide more money for public services for two reasons. Firstly, we're an integral part of NATO, and Trident is an integral part of NATO's defensive strategy. That's the first point.
So why don't we do what Germany does and have America pay for the nuclear weapons in our country and maintain them? And we don't do it. I mean, Germany doesn't have its own nuclear weapons. It has American weapons based in its country.
Yeah, well, not every country in NATO needs.
Right. So why do we, Cliff?
Because we're a pact, and NATO collectively have decided that certain countries will have nuclear weapons.
Well, let's change that. Change that arrangement. Follow Germany and spend the money on public services. Let's move on to point 2.
Secondly, Matthew, our spending on Trident is part of our percent of GDP that we spend on defence.
Yes, it is.
Are we really going to say that actually we're going to spend 1.5% going forward on defence? I mean, we
2.5%.
We would spend it on more conventional weaponry.
Yes, and maybe more soldiers.
Maybe more soldiers. So it doesn't save money, is my point.
I follow you. Cliff, I'm not going to argue with that point. Yeah, if we continue to spend the money, I mean, at the moment, I'm looking at it's a percentage of GDP. Yeah, no, you're fair point. If we're going to spend the money on alternative weapons, there isn't going to be more money for public services. I will accept that one. Cliff, thank you.